Saudi Arabia is the most gender-isolated country in the world. Until now, Saudi Arabian women have had to pretend to tolerate the unjust circumstances. This needs to be reformed. It is the right of the Saudi Arabian women to have equal standings as men in their country, and it is the responsibility of the government to enforce this. These injustices are caused by the outdated male guardianship system and the reactions of the government to the protests in Saudi Arabia. The Saudi Arabian government has started to take some action and responsibility by releasing bin Salman's future plans to modernize the country and lifting the driving ban. Saudi Arabia contains a male guardianship system that limits the freedom and possibilities a Saudi woman can have. This policy requires a Saudi woman to receive permission from a guardian, which can include a father, a husband, or a son, to work, travel, receive education, marry, or access insurances. This video was put together by the Human Rights Watch to bring awareness to the inequalities faced by women. These basic human rights have been accessible to females in other countries for a very long time. For the past few decades, the country's main focus was to have males maintain ultimate control over women's human rights. The males often acted as a representative for women when dealing with legal actions including education, employment, and health. The limitations from the segregation between the sexes should not be tolerated. Because of this, activists have protested that the government needs to enact anti-discrimination legislation laws prohibiting the male guardianship policy. Saudi Arabia's King Salman has issued an order on April 17, 2017 to not deny women access to government services even if they do not have their male guardian's consent. He began to recognize this problem when he received many tweets from Twitter about ending male guardianship and standing with the Saudi women. Women have been dealing with inequality in academic opportunities and facilities when dealing with their work. Employers have made the excuse that they cannot hire a female employee because they would have to create a separate workspace for them. In all other countries, these problems that Saudi women face every day are non-existing. The Saudi Arabian female population is sick of the lack of reform and is demanding the termination of the male guardianship system to be the government's top priority. With such a change comes opposition. It is the government's responsibility to overlook these and focus on what is most important for the country. The release of the driving ban has caused great opposition in which women activists have been targeted. During an interview, Ala al-Dosari, a women's activist, spoke out about her mixed feelings on the driving ban. While happy there was no more restriction and much more freedom, she was distraught to hear that government was threatening women activists to not speak to the press or give statements. The prince, Mohammed bin Salman, has been described as being the best hope for reform in decades. Though he is not the head of the government, MBS greatly influences his followers. His father, ruler of Saudi Arabia, has named his son the successor of him. Rapid changes to this country are being planned and are currently happening due to the heir's influence on his people. These reforms are being put into action with the hope that it will appeal tourism and bring peace to Saudi Arabia. To attract tourism, the prince has allowed women into stadiums to watch football and into theaters to watch the best-selling films and into music festivals to listen to live music. A Riyadh resident, Rahaf al-Hindoui, shares her thoughts with an interviewer on April 19, 2018, about the new changes being brought into her neighborhood.
It's a new era, new age. It's that simple. Things are changing, progress is happening, we're opening up, and we're catching up with everything that's happening in the world.
After 3 decades, a new commercial movie theater opened on April 18th to show the U.S. blockbuster film Black Panther. The prince has effectively lifted the ban of public film screenings set in the 1980s. Another issue MBS is trying to resolve and improve is the security and stability of the country. He recently spoke with the United Kingdom Prime Minister Theresa May about his vision for the economic and social reforms by 2030. These include the works being driven forward on education and health care, as well as his plans for modernizing Saudi Arabia. MBS has proven to be committed to this modernization by curbing the influence of the kingdom's religious police, which focuses on gender segregation. He has been trying to undo any lessons taught by extremists in hope of projecting a certain image onto the country. He has mentioned many times that he is trying to desegregate the genders in his country. In an interview with Time magazine, he said that women can participate in sport and business just as well as men can because Prophet's practice is on their side. He believes that women should be able to be given the same rights as men. Bin Salman is not afraid to consolidate power by acting aggressively and decisively, but he will need help from outside sources in order to continue these reforms. The author of the article in the magazine says Bin Salman's putative revolution could transform one of the world's most retrograde autocracies from exporter of oil and terrorist ideology into a force for global progression. The prince has gained lots of support from activists expressing their enthusiasm for these changes throughout their kingdom. The Saudi females also give their gratitude to MBS for recognizing the injustice that women have had to deal with when it comes to the driving ban, which has been an ongoing problem in Saudi Arabia for the past few years. Women will finally be independent from their male chaperones while on the roads. This is groundbreaking because it is the largest step the country has taken towards reform. Women have been fighting for the right to drive since June of 2011, where many women got behind the wheel and drove around cities in a protest to the ban. Though there is no written legal ban for the women and driving, there is a strong restriction where the government refuses to issue women permits. Manal al-Sharif posted a picture of her driving her car in Dubai in acts of solidarity. In 2011, she was arrested and put in jail for 9 days after posting a video of her driving on YouTube and Facebook.
قريتها في اليوم مش للطوارئ المرأة مثل الرجل في أنها تعيش حياتها الاجتماعية وتكون بكرامة من غير ما تذل نفسها لأي أحد.
يعني مو كلنا عايشين ملكات ومدللات ومرفهات وعندنا سواقين، مو كلنا. يعني أنا مستحيل، يعني حتى لو إني أقدر أجيب سواق مستحيل أخلي إنسان غريب يعيش في بيتي. يعني هذه أمر منتهي منها.
لا وبعدين حتى لو يعني قبلتي بهذا الشيء مستحيل تتركينه مع ابنك أو مع بنتك في سيارة. بتحطي معها لازم تروح مع المربية ولا الشغالة ويعني تكاليف ما لها داعي.
Many men found her protests disrespectful and named her a traitor. In contrast, Saudi women found her iconic and praised her for her rebellion. Alongside Manal, there have been at least 11 others arrested in 2018. Permitting women to drive is opening up opportunities for the kingdom to modernize and be in sync with the rest of the world. Women all around the world are supporting those who are finally granted the opportunity to drive in Saudi Arabia. The government is taking responsibility of the women's equal rights in Saudi Arabia by lifting the driving ban on June 24th and allowing Bin Salman to execute his plans to rejuvenate the country. While women are still suffering from the male guardianship system, their freedom and opportunity have increased because of the new changes. The majority of the people in the country are looking forward to what is considered the new Saudi Arabia.